Dr. Elena Kincaid stood by the observation window of the Ark ship Vanguard, staring at the cold expanse of space that stretched out before her. The ship, a relic of humanity's last hope, orbited the ruins of Earth, now nothing more than a graveyard, its surface scarred and scorched from the brutal alien invasion. The Ark ships had been humanity's final refuge, but the once thriving world was now lost to them. The alien forces had come in a great, unstoppable wave, and within months, Earth had been reduced to a wasteland. Yet, despite the loss, there were whispers, faint rumors suggesting that humanity was not entirely gone. Kincaid was a quiet dissenter aboard the Vanguard. While the rest of the crew went about their daily duties, resigned to the new status quo, Elena spent her time deep within the ship's research labs. She had been part of the scientific team that studied alien biology during the early stages of the invasion. Her mind, once captivated by the possibility of learning from the invaders, now burned with doubt. Officially, Earth had been deemed uninhabitable, humanity's last fight crushed. The alien forces had established control, and the remaining humans scattered across the galaxy had adapted to life aboard the Ark ships. But something didn't sit right with Kincaid. There were gaps in the alien monitoring systems, anomalies she couldn't ignore. Subtle, yet persistent fluctuations in the data hinted at something humanity had been overlooked. It wasn't much, just a whisper in the noise, but Kincaid couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Earth's fate than the world had been led to believe. Perhaps the aliens hadn't succeeded in eradicating humanity after all. It was late one evening as she sifted through a series of encrypted communications that had bypassed standard security protocols when she found it a signal. An encrypted transmission, old and fragmented, but unmistakably human. The message was garbled, but the pattern was clear. The transmission came from Earth, deep within the alien-controlled zones. It had been sent years ago, shortly after the final waves of the invasion, but the aliens hadn't detected it. It was as if someone had deliberately kept it hidden, buried beneath layers of alien surveillance. Kincaid's heart raced. Was it possible? Could humanity still exist on Earth, hidden from the invaders? And if so, who had sent this message? She carefully ran the signal through a series of decryptions, piecing together what little information she could. It was cryptic, but the message contained a single word, repeated several times: resistance. The realization hit her hard. There had been pockets of resistance on Earth, but no one had known if they had survived the final assault. If this transmission was genuine, it meant something that had once seemed impossible. Humanity, far from extinct, might still be fighting back. Kincaid knew she couldn't ignore this. The transmission wasn't just a signal. It was a lifeline, a glimmer of hope that humanity wasn't completely lost. If there were survivors on Earth, they might hold the key to reclaiming the planet. And if they were still active, they might be planning something big. She wasted no time in gathering a small team of trusted allies, a handful of scientists, engineers, and former military personnel who shared her suspicions. Kincaid wasn't sure what they would find on Earth, but she knew they had to investigate. Their mission was clear: locate the source of the transmission and, if possible, uncover the remnants of the human resistance. This wasn't just about survival, it was about proving that humanity was still capable of standing up, of fighting back. She would not let her people fade into obscurity without a fight. Kincaid's crew prepared to leave the Ark ship in secrecy. They couldn't afford to alert the alien forces, who might be tracking their movements. Stealth was paramount. She felt the weight of the decision she was making. If they failed, it could mean the end of their fragile hope. But if they succeeded, it could spark a revolution. As they made their way down to the surface of Earth, the scale of the devastation became apparent. The once vibrant cities were now just husks, with ruined skyscrapers rising like skeletal remains against the gray sky. The planet's ecosystems had been ravaged. What was left of the oceans had turned toxic, and the air was thick with the hum of alien terraforming technology, continuously reshaping the world to suit the invaders' needs. The crew moved carefully through the wreckage, staying out of sight, avoiding the ever-watchful drones that patrolled the skies. Their target was a facility buried beneath the ruins of what had once been a major city. According to Kincaid's research, it was a long-abandoned military complex that had been repurposed by the resistance before the invasion. But there was something else, something more. Deep within the facility, they discovered an unexpected anomaly, a piece of experimental technology left behind by humanity. The device, covered in alien symbols, hummed with strange energy. Kincaid was unsure of its purpose, but one thing was clear: it was powerful. This wasn't just any old relic of the past. It was far beyond anything humanity had built before the invasion. It seemed to be a hybrid of human ingenuity and alien technology, an unholy fusion. Kincaid's pulse quickened. Could this technology be the key to humanity's resurgence? Could it help them break the alien stranglehold on the galaxy? But the thought of using it was fraught with danger. The alien invaders had assumed humanity had been wiped out, but now Kincaid realized they might have been mistaken. The transmissions, the technology, and the presence of human survivors all pointed to the same chilling conclusion: humanity had survived, and the aliens had overlooked them. As Kincaid gazed at the mysterious device, she felt a wave of determination wash over her. The aliens had underestimated them, but they would soon learn the truth. Humanity had not vanished. It had only been waiting, watching, and now it was time to fight back. As the days passed, Dr. Elena Kincaid's team ventured deeper into the alien-controlled zones, the ruins of Earth growing more dangerous with every step. The mysterious transmission had led them to an abandoned military facility, once a hub for humanity's final resistance efforts. But as Kincaid's crew explored the complex, they began to unravel something far more complex and far more dangerous than they could have imagined. At first, the discovery of the alien artifact seemed like a breakthrough. It was a device unlike anything Kincaid had ever encountered. The artifact radiated a strange energy, seemingly combining both human and alien technologies. It looked like a key and access point to a network that could potentially reveal hidden alien secrets, or even give humanity the tools to fight back. It hummed with potential, a promise of power that could tip the scales in humanity's favor. But as they studied the artifact, things began to spiral. Kincaid and her team weren't the only ones in the facility. Unbeknownst to them, another group of humans had been hiding in the shadows, watching their every move. These humans were not survivors, nor were they part of any hidden resistance. Instead, they were collaborators, those who had allied themselves with the alien invaders, seeing the new order as their ticket to survival and prosperity. To them, Kincaid's mission was not just a foolish endeavor, but a direct threat to the future they had secured by cooperating with the invaders. The confrontation was inevitable. When Kincaid's team stumbled upon a hidden chamber deep within the facility, the collaborators revealed themselves. They were well-armed and well-prepared, making it clear they had been monitoring the humans aboard the Ark ships for some time. The leader of the collaborators, a man named Marcus Thorne, stepped forward, his voice cold and calculated. "You've made a grave mistake, Dr. Kincaid," he said, his eyes flickering with a dangerous gleam. "Humanity's future lies not in fighting the aliens, but in cooperating with them. We've made peace with our new masters. Why do you insist on dragging us back into a war we can't win?" Kincaid stood firm, her voice unwavering. "You've sold us out. You've forgotten who we are. The invaders didn't just take our planet, they took our freedom. If we don't resist now, we'll be nothing more than slaves in our own galaxy." Thorne shook his head, a bitter smile curling on his lips. "You're wrong, Kincaid. We've seen the truth. The aliens have offered us a chance to thrive in a new world. Resistance is a fool's dream. We're building something better, and you're standing in the way of it." Kincaid's heart tightened with anger. How had it come to this? Some humans, desperate to survive, had abandoned everything they had fought for. They had betrayed their own kind in the hopes of securing a future under alien rule. The thought was nauseating. As the standoff escalated, Kincaid's team was forced to make a choice. Some of her crew members, those who had been shaken by the years of suffering and uncertainty, began to waver. They listened to Thorne's words, wondering if perhaps he had a point. Maybe the aliens weren't the mindless monsters they had once believed. Maybe cooperation, not resistance, was the only way forward. Kincaid could feel the division in her team growing. The seed of doubt had been planted. Her most trusted ally, a former military officer named Alex Martinez, was the first to speak up. "Maybe Thorne's right," Alex said slowly, his voice laced with uncertainty. "How long have we been fighting? How much longer can we keep running from the truth? If humanity's truly gone, what are we even fighting for?" Kincaid's chest tightened. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. How could Alex, her closest friend and ally, be so willing to give up? Was the weight of their losses too much for him to bear? "Alex, no," Kincaid said firmly. "This isn't about surviving at any cost. This is about freedom, about fighting for what's right. If we give in now, we're no better than the aliens who took everything from us." But Alex was already looking at the collaborators, his face torn. "I just don't know anymore, Elena. The aliens gave us a chance. Maybe we should take it." The rift between Kincaid and her team deepened. Her sense of betrayal wasn't just about the collaborators. It was about the growing disillusionment within her own ranks. The war for humanity's soul was no longer just against the aliens. It was within her team, within herself. As the tension mounted, the team discovered something even more troubling. The alien artifact, which Kincaid had once hoped would be humanity's salvation, was not what it seemed. The more they studied it, the more they uncovered its true purpose. It wasn't a weapon or a tool for control, it was a signal jammer, a device meant to silence any human resistance and prevent the rise of survivors who might challenge the alien invaders. Kincaid felt a cold chill run down her spine. The artifact wasn't meant to empower humanity. The aliens had never stopped watching, never stopped manipulating. They knew exactly what humanity was capable of. The collaborators had aligned themselves with the invaders, thinking they were securing a better future, but the truth was far darker. The aliens had been quietly working to ensure humanity would never rise again, keeping them divided and pacified with false promises of peace. The realization hit Kincaid like a physical blow. The artifact was a symbol of everything that had gone wrong. It was a reminder of how the alien invaders saw them not as equals, but as a threat to be eradicated. The invaders had underestimated humanity once before. Now, it was clear they feared what humanity could become. But as Kincaid wrestled with the truth, she knew there was no turning back. Her mission had changed. It was no longer just about finding survivors or uncovering hidden technology. It was about awakening humanity to the truth. There would be no peace with the invaders. There could be no compromise. Humanity's only chance was to resist. The team was divided. Some still clung to the idea of cooperation, swayed by the promises of the collaborator. Others, like Kincaid, knew there was no other choice but to fight. The battle for humanity's future had shifted. It was no longer about finding remnants of the old world. It was about forging a new path forward, one that rejected the alien invaders and the false peace they offered. The question now was, could Kincaid unite her divided team, and would humanity stand with her? Or would they fall victim to the collaborators' treacherous vision of a future under alien rule? The clock was ticking, and Kincaid had no time to lose. The aliens knew humanity's potential, and they had worked for years to ensure it would never rise again. But Kincaid knew one thing for certain: if humanity was to survive, it would be on their own terms. And no one, not even the invaders, could silence that. Kincaid's mind raced as she stared at the alien artifact, the weight of its significance pressing down on her. This wasn't just a key to hidden technology, it was a symbol of humanity's greatest potential, a double-edged sword that could either lead to their salvation or destruction. She had thought it might be the breakthrough they needed, the weapon or tool that would turn the tide in their favor. But now, after everything that had unfolded, she realized that the artifact was far more dangerous than she had ever imagined. The truth began to sink in. The alien invaders, those who had so thoroughly crushed humanity, had made one critical error: they had underestimated the resilience and adaptability of humankind. Kincaid had long believed that the aliens had won, that humanity had been scattered and left to rot in the far reaches of space. But she had been wrong. In the darkest, most forgotten corners of Earth, something was growing. The survivors had not simply given up. They had adapted. Humanity had always been a species of innovation, of survival, and now it was clear that the invaders had failed to account for this. Deep underground, hidden from the alien surveillance systems, humanity's resistance had not only endured it, had Eei. Using the very alien technology that had been meant to control them, they had slowly adapted it to their own needs, learning from it, mastering it, and preparing for the moment when they would rise again. Kincaid felt a shiver run through her. The transmission they had followed, the artifact they had discovered, this was all part of a larger, more intricate web of resistance. Humanity had been down, but not out. The aliens had thought they had wiped out any possibility of human resurgence, but the truth was far more complicated. But as the revelation hit Kincaid and her crew, it wasn't just the past that they had to contend with, it was the future. There were new factions within the alien invaders themselves. Kincaid had assumed they were a monolithic force, a single entity united in their goal of domination. But now, she learned that the invaders were not all the same. Among them were those who were sympathetic to humanity's plight, those who had come to see the destruction of Earth as a moral failure, and who believed that peace, not annihilation, should have been the goal. A faction of alien defectors, those who had grown disillusioned with their own kind, reached out to Kincaid, offering their help in countering the more oppressive elements of the invader forces. This unexpected alliance was both a lifeline and a complication. Could Kincaid trust these aliens, even if they were defectors? And if she did, how would she explain this to her team, who had spent so long believing that the only way forward was through pure human resistance? Kincaid found herself standing at a crossroads. She had always been a rebel, a fighter. Her mission had been clear: resist, push back, and keep humanity's spirit alive. But now, everything was in flux. The artifact, the key to everything they had worked for, had taken on a new significance. The resistance on Earth had its own agenda, and Kincaid had to decide if she would join them, use the alien technology to rebuild and strengthen humanity, or continue on the path of rebellion, keeping humanity's spirit of defiance alive, even if it meant starting from scratch. The decision grew even more complicated when Kincaid learned the true purpose of the artifact. It wasn't just a tool for communication or control, it was also the key to unlocking the alien technology that had been keeping humanity from rising. If Kincaid allowed the artifact to be used, it could bolster the human resistance, accelerate their development, and potentially give them the power to fight back on a scale they hadn't dreamed possible. But there was a catch. The artifact was a weapon of control as much as it was a tool of liberation. Its power could be used to free humanity from the aliens' grasp, but it could also be turned against them. The alien invaders had built it to keep humanity subdued, to suppress any efforts at rebellion. It had been designed to shut down any efforts at resistance, any hopes of a human revival. And that was the moral dilemma Kincaid faced. The artifact, while potentially the key to victory, was also a weapon that could destroy everything she and her team had worked for. If she allowed its power to be harnessed, it could change the course of the war. But it could also doom her entire mission, stripping away the very freedom she fought for. Kincaid's heart was heavy as she made the decision. She had to destroy the artifact. It was too dangerous. Even if it meant alienating the resistance factions on Earth and losing the support of the alien defectors, it was the only choice. The artifact was a double-edged sword, and its potential for devastation was too great to ignore. To keep humanity's soul intact, Kincaid knew she had to make the sacrifice. Her team, however, did not share her conviction. There was a growing divide between her and her closest allies. Some of them, including Alex, still believed there was a way to use the artifact to fight back against the invaders. They saw it as their one opportunity to level the playing field, to give humanity a fighting chance. Alex's voice rang out in the silence, full of anguish. "We can't just destroy it. This is the weapon we've been waiting for, Elena. You're condemning us all to failure." Kincaid's eyes were filled with sorrow as she turned to face him. "Alex, if we use this artifact, we risk losing ourselves. The aliens built it to control us. We can't let them have that power." But Alex wasn't listening. "I don't think you see it, Elena. We've been fighting for so long, but this is the breakthrough we needed. If we destroy it, we're giving up." The tension was palpable. And then, in a sudden, violent moment of betrayal, Alex turned away. He had aligned himself with those in the team who believed in using the artifact, and in a shocking move, he attempted to seize it. This entity, whose name could not be comprehended by the human mind, had been orchestrating conflict across countless civilizations for millennia, using them as pieces in its grand cosmic chess game. The war between humanity and the aliens was just one small part of its long-standing plan, a plan whose true purpose was known only to the entity itself. To it, the struggle of life and death, of survival and destruction, was nothing more than a game. The winners and losers mattered little. It was the conflict, the turmoil, the rise and fall of civilizations that held its interest. Kincaid's hands trembled as she processed the revelation. All this time, she had thought they were fighting for something tangible, for humanity's survival, for freedom, for a future. But now she understood that they had been caught in something much larger, much more incomprehensible. The aliens, despite their oppression, were not the true enemy. They had been just another tool in the hands of this ancient cosmic entity. And what did that mean for humanity? What did it mean for the billions of lives that had been lost, for the sacrifices made? Had it all been for nothing? Or had humanity, in its defiance, been playing its part in this cosmic game all along? Kincaid's mind reeled as the implications set in. She and her team had sparked a rebellion, ignited hope across the stars. But in doing so, they had also exposed themselves to the full wrath of the alien overlords and to the unknowable wrath of the entity that controlled them. The war was far from over, and humanity's place in this grand cosmic scheme was as uncertain as ever. The final question lingered in Kincaid's mind, an insidious thought that refused to leave. Were they truly the underdogs? Had humanity's resilience, its will to survive, been the defining factor in this war? Or had they, like the aliens, been mere pawns in a game far beyond their comprehension? As she gazed out at the stars, the weight of this new knowledge settling over her, Kincaid realized that the battle for humanity's future was far from simple. They had won a significant victory, yes, but the true war, one that transcended the petty struggles of individual species, was just beginning. And whether humanity could ever break free from the cosmic forces that sought to control them remained to be seen. The answer, she feared, might never come. But one thing was certain: humanity would never stop fighting. Even if they were caught in a game they couldn't understand, they would fight to the end. Because that, perhaps, was the true definition of freedom. In the end, Kincaid could only ask herself one question. In a universe where everything is controlled by forces beyond comprehension, what does it really mean to be free? And could humanity, with all its defiance and ingenuity, ever truly escape the grasp of those who would manipulate it for their own purposes?